Hello and welcome to this week's webcast. I'm Gentry.
And I'm Emmanuel Tobe. We have an exciting show planned, but first, let's step into the box for the 3 strikes.
The Sacremento Kings fired head coach Dave Yeager last week after their best season in 13 years. Right after, they agreed to a deal to bring former Laker coach Luke Walton in as the same role. So Manny, was this a swish or a miss?
Oh, I think it's a big swish. I like this move for the Kings, to be honest. If you look at Walton, I think he is a great fit. You're already shaking your head. Hasn't even started yet. Give it some time. Just like for Walton, you need to give him some time. You need to be patient. I understand that Walton has some kind of questions coming in, but let's talk about how 3 years ago, before he joined the Lakers, he was one of the hottest young prospect coaches in the league.
Okay, yes, he was a young prospect coach, but I think that's because of the team he had around him. I think he's proven he's not great at developing young core players. And what do the Kings have? One of the most dominant young cores coming up in the league. If you give him a team such as even the Timberwolves, who have a star player and a kind of immediate group that can go around him, it works perfectly.
See, but I'm going to disagree with what you said. You said, yes, he's not good at developing young players, but look at where he was at. He was at Los Angeles. The problem is with the Lakers, they're not trying to develop a young core. They're just trying to win. They got LeBron, and they're willing to trade their entire young core. They're not trying to develop anything. They're just trying to win right now because it's the Lakers' mindset. Walton just wants to coach. When he goes to the Kings, he's just going to coach. He's not going to have to worry about crazy dads. He's not going to have to worry about mega stars or unrealistic expectations. He's just going to be able to coach.
Lakers definitely have a lot of issues, but I think 98 and 148, and then to kind of the Kings firing Yeager after their best season in 13 seasons, a season where they were in playoff contention until that very last week, to fire a coach after that, after an organization and a rebuild and drafting young core and developing Fox, Giles, Bagley, Willie Cauley-Stein coming into play, and having Harrison Barnes as well. I think that young core that they have is something that was meshing with their coaching staff, and bringing in a new rival coach, in a sense, to see who could rebuild faster hurts them.
I don't think so. Who can rebuild faster, though? See, that's what kind of we were talking about earlier. It's just, I think if you give him some time, I think he can really develop not just the team, but also himself as a coach as well. Give him some time. He's still young, 39 years old. The Atlanta Braves recently signed Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies to absurdly cheap contracts. In Albies' case, that was criticized as, quote, the worst deal for a player ever. Drew, who benefits more, the prospects or the organization from these deals?
Definitely the organization. But you got to think of this. Their first 3 years, they're paying a combined $4 million for Albies and Acuna. That is cementing your young core. They're developing. They're 19, 20 years old, just entered their league last year, and they've already taken the league by storm. They're already a dynamic duo alongside Dansby Swanson. And through 2025 or through 2027, after 2022, they're only paying $21.5 million guaranteed to both of them. With a young core that solid and batting 1, 2, 3, and you're just going to develop so much. And alongside Freeman development, they just need a pitching staff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can have so much money now in your pitching core because you've cemented 2 key spots for less than $35 million.
And over time as well. I mean, and I agree with you. I'm not going to argue about the fact about, the organization definitely benefit. But what I'm going to talk about, and, what kind of gets my gears grinding is the fact that someone made the comment, and I've seen a couple comments online talking about how this deal was bad for the future of players in baseball. But the thing about it is, if you're Ozzie, if you're Acuna, what you should be thinking about is getting paid, having fun, and enjoying your life. The fact that people are upset that Ozzie and Acuna aren't signing deals that are good enough for the future of baseball. Because let's say Acuna gets hurt next year, or let's say Ozzie gets hurt and they're never able to play again. The future of baseball isn't going to write them a $35 million check and say, thank you for helping me out with my contract. No, so I think it's really stupid for us to really just make everything become you have to do this for the future of something else. No, they should worry about their lives, they should worry about being happy, and they should worry about what they're doing in their careers.
Acuna's already batting .302 this season, and Albies is batting .328. That, again, you said cementing it and being your own man. We saw major $1 million contracts, hundreds of millions of dollar contracts. They don't need that. They're young. They want to just play the game and transition the sport back.
And they want to play the game together, too. They're best friends. You love seeing that.
The XFL is set to kick off in February 2020. CEO Oliver Luck and founder Vince McMahon have desired to reimagine the game. With that in mind, Doug Whaley and the football ops team have been testing a bunch of new rules related to the overtime, punt returns, 2-point conversions, pass blocking, and more. How will the XFL fare come 2020? All
right, Drew. So I want you to close your eyes and walk with me through a graveyard, okay? On your right, you see the World Football League. On the left, United States Football League. Then you see the Original Football League, the United Football League, the Fall Experimental Football League, the Continental Football League, the All-American Football League. Shall we keep walking?
No, I had to open my eyes. You lost me. I saw too many graves.
Exactly. It is extremely difficult for you to create a brand new sports league. It's extremely difficult, and they're generally unprofitable as well. Yes, you have the NFL, you have the NBA, you have the NHL, and the big leagues. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's so difficult to create a new sports league that is profitable and that keeps people's interest for a long period of time.
I agree that it is extremely difficult, but I think that McMahon has a different mindset coming into it, and I think this league can actually work. We said this about the AAF too, and it shut down, but 2 years to get this league off. You've already failed once, so you know what you've done wrong. They're pointing at the issues that the NFL, they're defining every certain word. They're getting rid of controversial things. They're going to define what a catch is. They're going to get their word out of politics. They've already come out on stances on that. They don't want criminals to be in the league. I don't know how feasible that's going to be, but they have the opportunity to recreate football and to make it such a better experience for fans and not make it, it's going to be competitive still, but it's going to have this aspect that fans can get away, and the offseason is just going to be so much more fun.
Yeah, but let's go back in time. We said the same thing last year about the AAF, how promising it looks. Has a brand new TV deal. It'll be on TNT, CBS, NFL Network, innovative app, all these cool, interesting rules. We said the exact same thing. As well as it had a firm understanding of what it's going to be as a league. They want to be a developmental league for the NFL. I don't even know if the XFL knows what they want to be. That's another issue that they have.
They want to be separate. He's come out and he says, we want to be our own league. But also, he's not the face of it anymore. McMahon is not going to be the face of it. And that was the issue. He has such a controversial past with what he performed in WWE and Raw and all that. It really created what is going on. There was a lot of bad things going on at the stadium, and I think creating a different environment is going to be so much better for this team.
But let's two things. First of all, I agree. Vince McMahon not being the forefront of that is definitely something that would be good for the XFL. You need to get other people who are involved, and then it also needs to be a team thing. But it is hard to coexist with a $14 billion a year monopoly that's interwoven in the fabric of U.S. society. How are you going to compete with that?
It's so hard to do, but I think it's time for somebody to actually break through. I think people are getting tired of the NFL a little bit with all the controversy that goes on. I think people want everything to be exactly defined and viewed.
I want it too, but I don't know if it's happening.
That's all for 3 Strikes. Next, I'll be back to discuss MLB.